Good evening. News tonight revolves around a significant development just a little over 1 week ago in the Mormon world, as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints, commonly known as the LDS or Mormon Church, announced the purchase of the historic Kirtland Temple, along with several other key historical sites and historical documents. The LDS Church acquired the Kirtland Temple located in Kirtland, Ohio, along with other historic buildings and artifacts for an estimated $192.5 million. The purchase has sparked a range of emotions within the Mormon religious community, particularly among members of both the LDS Church and their cousins, the Community of Christ, who had long held a connection to the Kirtland Temple. The Kirtland Temple, considered the first temple of the Mormon faith, has been a symbol of historical significance for the Community of Christ, formerly known as the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. The news of its sale has been met with a sense of sadness and concern among the community members who have cherished the temple as a vital part of their religious heritage and who worry that a more accurate and a more full telling of the early history will disappear as the LDS Church takes over the historical tours of these sites. While the sale may be disheartening for some, there is also a heightened interest in understanding the LDS Church's plans for these acquired properties. The church has not only obtained the Kirtland Temple, but also other properties as well as historical documents, such as the Smith family homestead, the Mansion House, the Nauvoo House, the Red Brick Store. Significant documents and artifacts include manuscripts and the Bible used in the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible, 7 letters from Joseph Smith to his wife Emma, John Whitmer's History of the Church, original portraits of Joseph and Emma Smith, and the cornerstone of the Nauvoo House, the original door of Liberty Jail, and the Charles Anton document, supposedly with the Reformed Egyptian on it, with the title of Characters, which is supposed to include inscriptions from the gold plates that made up the Book of Mormon. The purchase of such significant historical artifacts and sites for a substantial amount raises questions regarding the Community of Christ's financial well-being and curiosity about the LDS Church's motivations and future initiatives utilizing these properties and documents. As of now, details regarding the church's specific plans for these acquisitions and whether they intend to share historical documents with the public remain undisclosed. The religious community and historians and the public at large are left to ponder the future impact of this landmark purchase by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. On a personal note, I grew up in Sandusky, Ohio, around an hour and a half drive for me to go to Kirtland, and I had been there numerous times. I had met several times Locke Mackay, current apostle in the Community of Christ and former director or curator of the Kirtland Temple. I think he is best suited to express what this transfer means for the Community of Christ and for others feeling melancholy over this deal.
As an introvert, I hate talking about myself. Today, I'm going to make an exception. My grandmother was Lois Smith Larson, a daughter of President Frederick Madison Smith and granddaughter of Joseph Smith III. I grew up attending Smith family reunions in Nauvoo and Independence, but it wasn't until after university that I fell in love with our story. Following several summer internships, I ended up as director of the Kirtland Temple Historic Site and spent 15 years living literally in the shadow of Kirtland Temple. I moved to Nauvoo in 2007 and have lived on the Joseph Smith Historic Site for 18 years. These places have been my home for almost my entire adult life. I met my wife Kristen in the Red Brick Store in Nauvoo and was ordained to my first and favorite priesthood office, teacher, in Kirtland Temple. I've almost certainly given more tours of Kirtland Temple than any living person. And the Nauvoo House, Homestead, and Mansion House are my ancestral homes. For me, the decision to part with these places has been devastating emotionally. There was a time when I thought it might break me, but if I inherited anything from Joseph Smith III, it's his pragmatism, and intellectually, the path forward is clear. I care deeply about our past, but I care even more about our future. The post-pandemic world has changed. The needs have never been greater, and we no longer have the resources, human or financial, to care for these places the way they deserve to be cared for. The Smith family, like larger church family in the 1830s and 40s, suffered extraordinary losses in Ohio, Missouri, and Illinois, but they faithfully persevered. The most important items in this transaction came to the church from the family. So the proceeds from the sale, at some level, are an extraordinarily generous gift from them that will sustain us as we move into the future. I think they would feel good about that. Amid my grief, so do I.
For President Stephen Vesey, I can only imagine he wanted to ensure this was finalized prior to the next president prophet, Stacey Cram, taking over leadership as the first female prophet president of the Community of Christ, or of any Mormon faction as far as I know. I can only imagine how unfairly she may have been criticized if this had happened under her watch. While Latter day Saints are feeling glee over a long held rumor finally coming to fruition, the Community of Christ and many others are grieving over their loss, both of the temple itself and as an outward manifestation of their version of early church history. With a wealth of 265 million, the LDS Church has the resources to strategically shape its future and has done so here. However, given its history of narrative control and obfuscation regarding problematic issues, it would be reasonable to be skeptical about the church utilizing these properties and documents to ensure that accurate history is valued and told.